Okay, let's go. Guys, let's go and finish the minor. Okay, Torah, Parsha Shneur, page test. Okay. First column, paragraph at the bottom of the first column. Okay, now the Rabbi is explaining that the Maamarim represents the Gashmistic things, which are from Shvira Sekelim detailed. Nefesh Shabamis comes the highest source of Nefesh Shalikis, and therefore, when the person overcomes the Maamarim difficulties and they elevate the Gashmistic things, so then it becomes, the Neshama becomes greater than it was even before it came down. This is what Chazal say. That one turning, 1 hour of tshuva ma'asim tov in this world is better than the whole Olam Haba. Why? Like he explained, because when you elevate Gashmias, which is the Mayim Rabim, so then you not only you get Ziv HaShechina, like Gemara says about Gan Eden, but you actually get the Shechina itself. And therefore they're called Meineach. We learned last time, the Alter Rebbe explained that in simple pshat, Meineach is when the pasuk says in Yeshaya, Ma'aver Meineach, because Neach caused the Mabel. You didn't go out to change the world. But here the Alter Rebbe is saying that Dafka through the Maamarim becomes Meineach, Naicha, Derucha, Shenasa Bem Tevas Neach. That it becomes the Be'ala Teva. Okay, this we learned already, by the way. And yeah, okay, let's go through. We learned this part already. That's why the Teva floated above the water. Now he said from the Baal Shem Tov that Teva means word, not only ark, it means words of Torah and Tefillah. That through the Mabel, the Teva is elevated to a place higher, like this, it's on earth. Through the Mabel, the Teva, meaning the words of Torah and Tefillah, becomes elevated to a higher place. And he said, this is where we're up to. He says, this is the mistake of business people. That they think they're not able to daven as well as the people, the yeshiva people. Why? Because they have to run to business and everything. He says, it's the opposite. Balabatim can daven better than the yeshiva. Why? Because again, the advantage of light comes through darkness. So because they're seemingly on a lower level, they have to occupy themselves with worldly things, but therefore they're able to transform the lower world to Kedusha, like the Rebbe that told Rabbi Leah Ebeler, I'm jealous of you because you deal with the world. You tell a nice word of Chassidus or Torah to somebody, and there's an advantage of Aliyas Asokim that while they're in business, they can elevate the business to Kedusha. Yesh ve'oyel, the people sitting and learning a whole day can't do that. And that's why he says it's a mistake. Which is the level of Shabbos, Kivei Shabbos, Mikol Melachtim. So now the Rebbe is comparing the Mei Noach, which is the level of Menucha, right, to the level of Shabbos. What's the union of Shabbos? Shabbav Yemei HaBreishis, 6 days of creation, is the way Elokus, in the limited form of creator, comes down into the Gashmistic world. So this explains that a Jew has to connect to Hashem. How do you connect to Hashem? By doing what Hashem does. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Okay? So during the week, Hashem creates. Hashem says to us, create. Shabbos, Hashem stops creating, meaning He's not in the level connection to world anymore. So Hashem says to us, stop creating on Shabbos. Meaning, during the week, Hashem has to lower Himself to create. When you create world, that means Hashem is associating Himself with world. On Shabbos, when Hashem stops creating, that means Hashem is elevating Himself, meaning revealing Himself in a level which is above world, above creation. So therefore Hashem says to us to do the same thing. During the 6 days, Sheshis Yamim Tasem Melachtecha, 6 days. Not, the Medrash says, it doesn't mean you could do work. You should do work, meaning, because then we associate ourselves with the level of Hashem as creator. Hashem creates, we create. So we connect to Hashem. Shabbos, Hashem stops creating, meaning he's in a level higher than world, and Shabbos, the Jew reaches a level higher than world. That's the level of Meinoach, and he says it.
Excuse me.
But
let me go back to the guy sitting in yeshiva, reads Gemara, Mishnah, Hasidut, all those things, and elevate. We want to work. There is no Torah.
that's the mistake. That's what he said. That's the mistake.
I know. How is that a mistake? There is no Torah.
What's Torah? What's Torah?
No, that's Torah.
What's Torah?
That's Torah.
What's Torah? Torah is the guidance of life. Torah or, okay? Like the Rabbi said many times, light doesn't change anything in the room. Correct? Light doesn't change the room. Whether the light's on or off, the room's the same. The only difference between light and dark is when you have light, you can see where you're going. You can see what's good and you can see what's dangerous. When it's dark, you don't see. But the room itself doesn't change. Okay? Hashem made the world. He put Torah into the world. Torah is the guidance of the Jew. Now, the ultimate purpose of the guidance is when you're dealing with physical things, to be guided there not to go wrong, number one. And not only not to go wrong, Chassidus explains, but on the contrary, because it's lower, it comes from a higher place. So when a Jew brings Torah into business, they're actually elevating a higher level of godliness than a person that sits and learns the whole day. They're not elevating world. They're elevating their learning. They're elevating the room of the yeshiva, whatever. Okay? So when you say Torah, Torah means when a person conducts business, the way Torah says to conduct business, i.e., keeping Shabbos, honesty in business. It doesn't take away times of davening and learning, right? And the purpose of business is to be able to make money, to live like a Jew. That is Torah in business, just like Torah is in yeshiva, Torah is in business. So you have yeshiva Torah and you have business Torah. Torah doesn't necessarily mean learning. It's the guidance of Torah in how to function. So, and Chassidus explains, and that's what Dr. Rebbe is saying here too, that the Torah that's in business is a higher elevation because you're elevating darkness to light than the guy that's sitting and learning a whole day. Their Torah is in learning, your Torah is in business. So it is a greater level. Outwardly, it looks lower. But in reality, Hashem doesn't want Dira Be'al Yainim, Dira in the yeshiva. Hashem says a person has to go out. Same in Ateva. In this week's Parsha, yeah? Hashem said to Shneur, go out of the Teva. So the Rebbe asks in a Sikha, why would he want to stay in the Teva another second? You know how cramped the quarters were? With every animal and all the work, and we learned that he was kicked by the lion and he was coughing blood, and yeah, why Hashem has to, so it says in Rashi, the Medrash says, Noach didn't want to go out of the Teva until Hashem said, no, you got to go out. Why would he would run out the first ability. So the Zohar says, because in the Teva, it was the level of La'asad Lavi. It was the level of Mashiach Zerah. The wolf lived with the lion, the Garzavim had the sheep with the lion, and they all lived harmoniously. So it says, as difficult as the Teva was, it was the era of Yemaisa Mashiach. So I'm living in Gan Eden here, of Mashiach's time. So Hashem said to him, Ba'achik, that's very nice, now get out into the world. Conquer the world. Conquer the world. Because Hashem doesn't want, at least in our circles, you should stay in yeshiva your whole life and learn. Maybe individuals, unique individuals should, because, there's... But the ultimate goal is, dafka in business, can you accomplish more, because Yedida, Tzeirat Chaliyah, the descent is for the sake of elevation, is to elevate, bring Torah into business world, so they're on a higher level than Yeshiva Elam, in a realistic level. Yeah, outwardly, Gan Eden is better than this world. Yeah, you want to give the analogy? Gan Eden versus this world. So openly, Gan Eden is higher than this world. But we just got to Yafet Shacham and second Tshuva Ma'asim Tevim is better than the whole Elam Haba. So in essence, this world is greater than Gan Eden. That's why should a Jew, in the non-Hasidic world, everything is done to go to Gan Eden. Oh, I'm going to get Gan Eden, Gan Eden, Gan Eden. In the Hasidic world, they don't care about that. This world is greater than Gan Eden. You accomplish more in this world than you do in Gan Eden. Why do I need Gan Eden? I got this world better. In other words, by a lot of Fromi Yidden without Chassidus, this world, it says that in Pirkei Avos, but it means something but there differently. That this world is a means to the end. The end is Gan Eden. Yeah? Right? That's in the religious world. The end is Gan Eden. In Chassidus explains, no, Dira B'Tachteinim is the essence. That's why Tchias HaMeisim is Dafkin Gashmistic world. This world is the ultimate, not Gan Eden. Gan Eden is a means to this world. And therefore the Rebbe quotes that it says, the Ovis, many Maamarim, the Friedrich Rebbe, the Rebbe brings down that the Ovis are waiting, Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov, are waiting 3,000 years in Gan Eden for Tchias HaMeisim. Can you imagine the level they reach? Every year you go higher and higher in Gan Eden. Can you imagine where they are in Gan Eden? All the way up in who knows where. Yeah? And yet, I would use what they're dying to come back to this world, but no, that's Tchias HaMeisim, you're waking up. They're dying to come back into this world, because this world is the ultimate. So you're talking about revelation or essence? Revelation, of course, Gan Eden. Of course, Yeshiva sitting in the yeshiva and learning is great. In revelations. But in essence, what does Hashem really want? Hashem doesn't want that. Hashem wants this. What?
The expression of saying that to bring Torah into business, I don't agree completely. So in my thinking is to bring business to Torah.
No. No.
Because the actions is to do actions according to the Torah.
Who says doing business is not Torah?
No.
What, is Torah serving God?
Yes.
Okay. A person could serve God when they learn, when they daven, and they could serve God when they do business. It's the same serving God.
Because life is part of the Torah, part of everything.
Yeah. So you bring. So we're saying the same thing, by the way. You're bringing business to Torah, Torah to business, same thing. Yes, it is. It is. Because
like the expression, Rabbi, I'm sorry. It's like the expression to say Hashem is in everywhere.
Right.
No, everywhere is in Hashem.
no, it's both. Out is Elokus and Elokus is out. In Chassidus it says both expressions. Everything is God and God is everything. It's equal. That's exactly what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. Business has to be Torah, Torah has to be business. Because if a person, I'll give you an example. If a person in their personal life is super religious,
Yes.
but they cheat in business, how many people, they stopped. It used to be much worse. People used to ask everybody, why do business cheat? Why do religious people cheat? You ever hear that question? Yeah, millions of times. What's the answer to the questions? They're not religious. They might look religious. They might say they're religious. But if you're stealing is against religion. You can't be religious and steal. If you steal, you're not religious. Are you wearing a long this and 80 beards and 80 payers yeah, that's so nice. But you're not religious.
But when a non-religious person sees that in a religious person, they go far away.
I understand. And they're not wrong for doing it. But the answer is, that's the mistake they make. The person's not religious if he steals. Half the 10 commandments are between man and God. Half the 10 commandments are between man to man. You can't have one without the other. So you bring Torah to business, you bring business to Torah.
Wow.